The same people that Yeshua tells his followers they should follow are the people that teach and were responsible for what we know today as the oral tradition. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on the implications of Yeshua's words? Sure, Yeshua says follow the Pharisees and the scribes because they sit on the seat of Moses, and everything that they teach you shall do. But what about the implications? Because, hello, that which they teach is from the oral tradition. So what are your thoughts on that? Because there are people that think when Yeshua condemns the traditions of the elders, that that's a condemnation against the entire oral tradition. So I want you to give us some context behind that. Make that make sense.
Yeah, I see a lot of brothers and sisters in the Israelite community try to use the term Pharisee as a negative term or a derogatory term. They try to place that word with something negative. Thanks. But a lot of and the funny thing is, a lot of coming from an Old Testament guy, a lot of brothers and sisters that are that adhere to the New Testament, they don't even care or want to know about it, and they use that term Pharisee as a derogatory term. Oh, you're a Pharisee. Oh, don't try to all of that. And
facts.
I'm shaking my head. I was just like, but Yeshua, he implies that he was a supporter of that. If you go to Matthew 23:5, it mentions about how they would use Tefillin, and me and Rav Zalphon, we talked about it with close brothers that we're close with in this walk, and we talked about it. We had a dialogue about it, and the brother that we was talking to, he's a very funny brother. He was saying, so y'all gonna put boxes on your head? I was just like, yo, you believe in Yeshua. Yeshua is your Messiah. So if he's telling you this is what they do and he's not condemning it, what do you think you should be doing? And he was like, man, I'm not gonna put no box on my head. I was like, so if Yeshua tells you to put a box on your head, would you do it? And he stood silent. I was just like, hey, it's in there. We're just not trained to see that.
It's in there. It's in there. Yeshua, when he's mocking the hypocrisy of the Pharisees, he says that they make their phylacteries broad and their tzitzit long. They make their tzitzit or their fringes extra long, and they make their phylacteries or totafot, or in the oral tradition tefillin, broad. But the point is, he's here validating that we use it. He's not saying that they're wicked because they have it. He's saying they're wicked because they're taking these emblems of holiness and they're elongating them in size to appear that they're all holy. I got the longest fringes, so I must be holier than you. I got the broadest tefillin, so I must be holier than you. The problem in the Israelite community is a lot of people are parroting knowledge and information, right? And a lot of people aren't studying. Because if we were studying, we would know that, yes, our people wore tefillin. And even in my community, right, I have to be honest, even in my community, who incorrectly sometimes style themselves as Pharisees, which is delusional. And I say that with respect. It's delusional for the Old Testament community that I come from. When they say, oh, the Messianic brothers uptown, they call us Pharisees, because we reject Yeshua, so we the Pharisees. To which I say, no, y'all not the Pharisees. Because y'all reject resurrection in the Old Testament community. The Pharisees accept it. Y'all reject the oral tradition, and the Pharisees are the framers and writers of it. So no, the hell, you not the Pharisees. You might be the Sadducees, because they followed a literal reading of the Torah. What the Tanakh says, that's what we follow. So they reject the afterlife. They reject resurrection because they can't see it definitively spelled in the Tanakh, and that's a Sadducee view. That is not the view of the Pharisees. So I say that with all due respect, Old Testament community that I come from is delusional when you say that you are Pharisees, because no, the hell you are not. The Pharisees believed in resurrection just like Yeshua did. The Pharisees believed in an afterlife. So you can't say that respectfully, right? So
if I could also add too as well, you know, with the whole Tefillin thing, even in the Qumran community, that's what they did as well. They practice not practice, but they don, you know, the phylacteries, and you know, a lot of Israelites, you know, you know, they get crazy when I say, look, that's what we're supposed to do. Man, you're not supposed to put a box on your head. It's not literal. It's not. I'm like, yes, it is. We have archaeological evidence. You know, we have tons of works in the Dead Sea Scrolls. I have it right here. You know, it's all in there. We're just not studying enough. Oh, I only deal with the Apocrypha in the King James. No, go outside. Go the extra mile. Do more. Don't stay in your little box.
yeah.
Pun intended.
Fact. It's always funny to me when a member of our community says, well, when you show them knowledge, fact, and truth, and they say, but I don't accept that. I don't deal with that. Okay, that doesn't render it incorrect because you don't deal with it. I don't accept that book, so what's in there is wrong. No, it's not wrong because you don't accept it. Israelites really think that that's a viable answer, by the way. Well, I don't follow that. It doesn't make the information wrong because you don't follow it. I know this is funny, right? But this is what we do in the Israelite community. You present information to somebody, you fact check them, they see it as fact, then they say, but I don't follow that. So it doesn't matter whether you follow. Truth is not truth because you accept or follow it. Truth is truth because it's the truth. And it don't need you to follow it if it's the truth. You know, on that note, I got a share screen real quick. Because there's Israelites that say, I'm not wearing boxes on my head. That's Jewish. Yeah.
Recordings just got better. Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce.
Well, what about Exhibit A? Because Exhibit A shows us that among the Qumran community were found tefillin, boxes that Israelites wore on their head. But it gets deeper. Because the tefillin that was found among the Dead Sea Scroll community of Qumran was not only like the tefillin we wear today, but it also contained the 4 parchments in tefillin today, where it's found portions of the Shema, which is supposed to be in the tefillin, rolled up in scrolls, just like the tefillin today. But Israelites don't study outside the Tanakh because they say if it's not the Tanakh, it's not the book. But these same Israelites start talking about Hanukkah and the Maccabees. I thought if it's not the Tanakh, it's not the book. So, you know, in the Israelite community, we pick and choose what we want to follow and allow to be truth. And in my 30 years in this way of life, the Creator has humbled me to know and understand that we don't get to pick and choose what we think is true. The Creator will show us what is true through either our own research or through someone pulling our coattail. The problem is, in our community, we think knowledge comes from one place, our own studies. And that is a testimony to the ego that exists among our people and prevents us from really behaving as community, uniting and becoming one and following Torah. The Torah tells us that you are to pull your brother's coattail and tell him about yourself, which then also means and suggests that part of the enlightenment that comes from that is me having not just my coattail pulled, but humility to accept that correction. That's what's missing in the Israelite community. Sure enough, God provides the remedy for not having enough of your own knowledge when he writes into the law that one should pull his brother's coattail. But that pulling of the coattail is only effective when we're humble enough to accept that correction.